Hampton, Virginia, born and raised. I am currently Director of University Choirs and Assistant Professor of Music at Hampton University. I earned degrees from Hampton University, actually in mathematics. I have a degree in music from Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida. I have a Master of Music Education from Norfolk State University. I'm currently pursuing the Doctorate of Education in College Teaching from Columbia University Teachers College in music and music education. Prior to coming back here to Hampton in 2012, I served as Director of Worship and Fine Arts at the Bethel Church in Jacksonville, Florida, where Bishop Rudolph Walter McKissick Jr. is the senior pastor. It's probably one of the greatest 14 years of my life, where I learned so much about myself, about music, church music, and about my spirituality as well. Great thing about being there, I got to hear a lot of great preaching. Bishop McKissick Jr. and Bishop McKissick Sr., they are some serious preachers. That's probably why it's so important to me that you get some good word in you. I'm blessed here at Hampton to have Dr. Deborah Higgins here at Memorial Church, and she is a preacher, as quiet as she tries to be. She is a major preacher and a major worshiper, so that's a wonderful thing to have every week. My time at Bethel allowed us to record, I think, 5 or 6 recordings. I got to work with people like Troy Sneed, Meacham Clark, a great team of musicians, Valerie Hill, Jarvis Brown, Jamie Johnson, James Davis, Mike Ferguson, Trent Phillips, Dario Edgecombe. I'm going to forget somebody, but just that Alex Hill, Carlos Williams, just high caliber musicians. A lot of them came from the FAMU factory of gospel music. I had spent time in full gospel. I had to develop a relationship with Bishop William Murphy and some other artists that came through. Jeffrey LaValle, met him at full gospel. Matter of fact, I was looking at my Facebook post today in my memories, and this was the day that he and I played the hymn together, and I just was in awe of his greatness along with his humbleness. The Hampton Conference, even prior to being director, playing with artists like Joseph Joubert, Lucretia Campbell, Trini Massey, Crystal Rucker, Ernest Pugh, Kathy Taylor, the great Marvin Sapp. I can remember, even as a student here, being exposed to Peggy Britt and Earl Bynum, and how important those things were in forming in my gospel music formation. Because most people don't know, I did not grow up playing gospel music. It wasn't until really I became a student at Hampton that I expanded into gospel music. I primarily grew up playing a lot of hymns and classical style stuff in church. So it's light gospel, but it wasn't until I was exposed here with Royce L. Dillard that those things really started to expand. God is everything for me. I can't do what I do without that connection. I understand that for me, you are my strength. It's not just a song. You are the source of my strength is not just a song for me. When I was a student here at Hampton, I did a song called How Great Thou Art. And for me, the best line of the song, actually I wrote it, it was a Friday night. I was visiting at my parents' house because they were out of town, and so I was just checking up on the house and sat down at the piano that I grew up playing. And it's a Friday night, I'm young, I'm supposed to be out with my friends, doing whatever. I spent that Friday night with the Lord, writing probably a song that has done really well for me. And the line that probably sticks with me at the end is the tenor sing, without you, Lord, I am nothing. And no matter how good I may think I am, that line will always come back to remind me, without you, Lord, I am nothing. So that relationship is everything. I try to nurture it, make sure that I am in the assembly of the saints, taking in some good word so that I can feed people appropriately. Because if you're not being fed, you don't have anything to go on. So you're empty. Some musicians who have influenced my career and my musical thoughts and musings have to start with Dr. Roland M. Carter, who was director of the Hampton Choirs for 24 years, starting in 1965, I believe. Dr. Greer Wilson, Dr. William F. Rogers was my first piano teacher. Miss Phyllis Holland James, of course my professor here at Hampton, the late Royzell L. Dillard, and my other professor and friend, Dr. Carl Wheatley Haywood. Outside of the Hampton Roads area, people who have probably had the most influence on my church music career would probably be, and my piano career, would be Richard Smallwood. Would have to include Richard. Gospel meets classical, classical meets gospel, whichever way you prefer. Ricky Dillard. Administratively, I'd like to say Dr. Tony McNeil, Dr. Eddie Robinson. Probably with new age gospel music, my influence, probably one of the greater influences for me would be, and he probably will die when I say it out loud, it's probably Meacham Lamar Clark. I just think he does such a wonderful job of bringing newness and bringing life into things.
young and old, is to practice, to study, practice things other than the latest and greatest. I encourage readers to try to train their ears and learn some things by ear. I encourage those who only play by ear to take the time it is to learn how to read. Something simple. Start with that hymn book. I know a lot of churches have thrown them out, but I have several if you need one. Come on by. I don't mind helping doing those kinds of things, because here's one of the things that I want people to understand. There will always be someone that comes after you who's younger and faster than you are. What's going to keep you around is this, what you have to offer other people in terms of that, because there's always going to be a new young artist or a new artist who's going to want the youngest musician to come and play with them, who can do this and knows all of the current trends. Keep up on those trends. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep yourself valued. Try to remain humble. Actually, don't try to, just do it. Remain humble. Be nice to older people. Be nice to younger ones too, but be nice to older ones, because one day you're going to be one of those older ones. If God blesses you with some life, you're going to be one of those older ones, and you don't want to be treated as if you never existed. You never did anything to contribute to the lexicon of music. Just try to possess a good character, because sometimes people are not as forgiving, and especially in a day when everything is tweeted, shown across the world, Snapchat, Instagram, everybody has a screenshot of everything in your life. And forgiveness is not something that we, even in the church, that we may subscribe to as much as we may have in yesteryear.
Yes, sir.
Firmly believe that musicians should be compensated. Now, the problem I have is that I'm not trying to hate on anybody's game. If you can get it, then get it. But I think sometimes we're paying people who are not qualified for the positions that they hold. If you can't do all of the things that are required for the job, you should not be paid to be the minister of music. At the same time, if you can do it, you should not be told that this is your reasonable service unto the Lord. Jesus paid it all and all the other fancy things that we do.
Talk, Reverend.
So I don't think that you need to be prostituting the musicians. But then you'll have the other arguments who will say, well, the choir is not paid. Let's not even get into that because somebody has to train them too. Not trying to offend any choir members, any praise team members, nothing. But I do believe that musicians should be paid and should be paid for everything that they do. Now, musicians, you need to be responsible. You need to show up on time. You need to be prepared. You need to have a good attitude. If you're not prepared, don't expect to be paid. If you are late, don't expect to be paid. If you leave early, don't expect to be paid. If you mean as hell, don't expect to be paid. Now, pastors, some of you like to play the money game with other musicians against other pastors. Stop doing that. Because a lot of this you've created. Churches, you've created such a demand for musicians that ones that are not qualified can get paid. And what I mean by that is we stopped training young people when they were young and trying to set them up so that they could be successful in the music field as they grew. We don't do that anymore. Get away from the instrument, get away from this. We don't do piano lessons. We don't do a lot of those things. And I realize it's a new day. Understand that. but there has to be some training that is done. Everybody is not always looking for money to help you, but you can't just be interested in getting the latest chord, the latest licks. You got to have some foundation. If your house is not built on a strong foundation, expect everything else to fall down. experience with Devon, Mickey, and then Tidewater Talks. But I'm really grateful. I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I hope we can work together again soon, Frat.